begin with a possible sea change in mail-in voting ahead of the November election. On Monday, the U.S. Supreme Court opened a path for the Trump administration to restrict mail-in ballots across the country. President Donald Trump signed an executive order earlier this year to create a national voter list and ordered the Postal Service to deliver ballots to those people only. The Supreme Court, with a conservative majority, didn't decide the legality of Trump's order on Monday. Instead, ruled that states who sued did not have the legal right to challenge it. The three liberal justices publicly dissented the ruling. It's not clear how much can be implemented before the midterm elections as states prepare to send ballots in just a few weeks. Governor Bob Ferguson spoke out about the decision, writing, quote, "While today's decision by the U.S. Supreme Court is terrible, it is only the beginning to the legal challenge. If these rules are allowed to stand, they will disenfranchise Washingtonians and lead to federal interference in our state elections." So what does this mean for the November election in our state and the future of Washington elections? To talk about the potential implications, we're joined by Washington Secretary of State Steve Hobbs. Thank you for being here, Secretary.
Thank you very much.
So to start, what is your reaction to Monday's ruling?
Well, look, I'm just as disappointed as you are and many Washingtonians, but I want to give Washingtonians some hope here. Now, there is two injunctions. They lifted one injunction, so we're still under one from the League of Women's Voters. Now, that one will also be lifted. However, the court did not rule on the constitutionality of the case, right, on the injunction itself. So I want Washingtonians to know that working with the AG's office, we will file another one, and I believe that will stick. And so we just have to continue fighting. This is not over, but we are prepared to fight this all the way to November if need be.
What does your office do now? Is your staff prepared to implement these policies?
So there's a two-pronged approach. One is the one I just talked to you, the legal route, which, again, I feel pretty good that we will prevail on that one. The other is, what if we lose all these cases? And so we can provide a list. It will not have the private information that the Trump administration is trying to get from our state. But the problem is, giving them the voter list does not help when we constantly update it minute by minute. So what if somebody registers or a new registered voter? Or people who are in the address confidentiality program. That's a program in which we protect victims of domestic violence from being found. And also on top of that, we have to redesign all the envelopes that you put in the ballot and goes to the county. We have to destroy those and print new ones. And so it is rather frustrating, but we are doing everything we can to meet the obligations of the voters to ensure that their vote is counted. This election is transparent and secure.
Well, we heard the governor say legal action could slow things down, but is there enough time to follow this executive order for November ballots?
No, it's tough because you're talking only a few months away. We got mail ballots on October 16th. So that's why I have pretty clear confidence in the legal route that we are taking. But we're not going to rest on our laurels. We're going to do everything we can just in case that fails.
Okay, Secretary Hobbs, let's talk about the people sitting at home watching this. What do they need to know before casting a ballot in November? What's your top advice? These things can get a little confusing and it's hard to follow sometimes. So what do you want the people at home to know? Yeah,
first of all, you can go on vowa.gov and track your ballot and get a text message. And so I encourage all Washingtonians to do that. So the second thing, you don't have to use the mailbox. Use a drop box. That is more secure, especially if you're a week out from the election. If you have not received a ballot past October 16th, it's been a week or two, you're a little worried, you should contact your county auditor and try to get a new one either sent to you or go there, or you can actually print one out at your own home and put it in a drop box. So your vote can be counted. And again, we're going to do everything we can to make sure this election is secure, transparent, and accessible.
Oh, and final question. On Friday night, the Postal Service published a final ruling about following the Trump administration's mail-in voting order for future elections. How could that impact our state elections moving forward?
Well, again, we're always looking at all the possibilities of what the USPS will do. And what's really frustrating here is that the federal government is doing everything they can to upset our elections, when at the same time we need the federal government's help to protect us from cybersecurity threats from Russia, China, Iran, North Korea. Those are the things that we need from the federal government, not this continuous attack against our constitutional right in this state to conduct our elections.
Okay, Secretary Hobbs, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.